Hi guys, I am Shane Galea, your leading property development expert for your property development needs. In today's My Development podcast, let's talk about the complete guide to renovating for profit. 8 critical tips you must know. Are you contemplating investing in property renovations? Isn't it appealing to make a good profit by renovating a property? The game's goal is to buy inexpensively, renovate economically, and work wonders by adding significant value. As a result, more property investors are focusing on renovating for profit. You're aware. Doesn't it appear to be straightforward? It's not quite that straightforward, though. Anybody can renovate, but that doesn't guarantee they can profit from it, so here are some recommendations to help you make your renovations more rewarding. Is renovating a good idea in today's real estate market? Yes, it is a strategy worth exploring. This is especially true now that we've reached that point in the property market. Raise your rents and create capital growth by making improvements via renovations. I'll show you in this complete guide to profitable renovations. However, let's get one thing straight real quick. Many individuals assume that if they buy, refurbish, and sell, they would be able to make a profit, but because most property flips fail, it is not suggested to use this method. Although workshops advise selling and making a profit, unless you engage in property development or extensive structural modifications, you will not generate a large enough financial gain to sell on completing. And that's not for the faint of heart. Instead, I advocate a plan of buy, renovate, rent out, refinance and repeat. Commonly known as BRR. It's simply too difficult to make a profit flipping properties that you've renovated, as it entails possibly losing a great deal of money by incurring capital gains tax and stamp duty on the next property. However, if you renovate intending to keep the property, you'll be able to keep all of the rewards you've produced during the makeover. The involves low vacancies. Your newly renovated house now appeals to a larger spectrum of prospective buyers or tenants who are prepared to pay a higher fee for higher quality living. Higher rental returns. As your newly renovated asset illuminates against its competition, you'll be able to charge a greater rental rate. Depreciation benefits. Since the federal budget in 2017, second-hand properties have attracted lower depreciation claims, but if you renovate, you enjoy the tax benefit of additional depreciation allowances. Manufactured capital gains. You can effectively construct your asset base, generate capital growth, and raise your overall wealth by employing this cost-effective technique. 8 tips for renovating for profit. With these in view, here are 8 renovation tips to help you plan a successful renovation approach. 1. Renovation objective. What is the goal of the renovation project, and what do you hope to achieve as a result? That should be one or all of the 4 advantages listed above. 2. Preparation, finance and structure. Getting financing for your renovation project can be far more complicated than it sounds. Financing for a regular home. You'll have to raise adequate capital to afford the costs of the property and renovations, and a contingency fund in case of problems or schedule setbacks. Before you can begin the real work, your finance must be structurally sound. Are you funding the renovation with your current cash flow? What is the value of your assets? 3. Location. Picking the right location accounts for about 80% of your investment property performance, with the remaining 20% coming from purchasing the right property in that area. And if you intend to preserve your renovated property as a long-term investment, choosing the right location is essential in achieving your renovating for profit objectives. Evaluate local markets for price points, what buyers desire in an apartment or a home, and all the normal characteristics like demand and supply, as well as times on the market, and, most significantly, a location with several long-term drivers underlying its potential capital growth. Keep an eye out for gentrifying suburbs, which are areas where other people are upgrading their homes. Once you've identified a profit potential area, look for a property that meets the scope of the renovation you want to do. Do not have it the other way around. Identify a property first, then try to persuade yourself that this is the right place to invest. 4. Choosing the right property to buy. After you've decided on a location, you'll need to figure out which property types are likely to beat the market. Consult a local real estate agent or probably hire a buyer's agent to assist you to comprehend the type of property that will allow you to renovate without overspending, whether it's an apartment or house. Inspect several properties and look for any structural issues. Examine the plumbing and electrical systems and the area surrounding the windows for decaying boards, which can be costly to replace. Because the vendor usually aims for a speedy sale, they can be excellent buying opportunities. If you can discover a property 20% less than the median price in an architecturally distressed location, for example, peeling paint or obsolete interiors, you'll know it has high renovation prospects. A discounted property, such as a foreclosure auction or deceased estate, may also be worth considering. You can also consult a professional buyer's agent to assist you in finding and buying property to refurbish. Of course, if you've never lifted a hammer before but are eager to get started on a renovation, it's a good idea to start small. Make sure you have the knowledge and expertise you need to reduce your risk and increase your chances of true success. That involves recognizing how to safeguard yourself, select the right property, and ensure that it generates a profit for you in the long run. 5. Purchase at wholesale. You'll need to buy your home at wholesale. That is, with capital growth built in so you can renovate for profit. 6. Budgeting and planning. There is no universal rule for renovating for profit, but you should be fine if your renovation budget does not surpass 10% of the current property value. Note how long your refurbishment will take, as each day you put it off costs you another 24 hours of interest on your mortgage, at a season when you don't have any rent to pay. It's also essential not to get too emotionally invested and overcapitalize. You can see that there isn't a direct correlation between how much money you spend and how much value you contribute. Some renovations, particularly concealed ones like plumbing and electrical work, don't add much value at all. On the other side, if you undercapitalize, you won't get the most out of your investment. Remember that property appraisers can assist you in allocating your budget to various areas. For example, a local appraiser would know that spending $15,000 on new kitchen furniture could add about $25,000 to your home's value. A quantity surveyor can also assist you in figuring out how much labor and supplies should cost so you don't get overcharged. They can also give you a depreciation schedule to show you the deductions you can make on your tax return. Remember to include a considerable contingency in your budgeting because every renovation project seems to have cost overruns and unforeseen events. It is about being equipped for the worst-case scenario, so make sure you have enough cash. 7. The renovation. You're starting to get your hands dirty, but I don't suggest doing the work yourself only if you have the skill sets and the time. Instead, I advise acting as project manager. Many of the variables you'll need to think about during the renovation phase in the project are included in this list. Decide responsibilities to be outsourced. What vacations, for example, require a license, such as electricians and plumbers? If you're not sure what you're doing, consider hiring a project manager. What needs approval from the Council of Building Surveyor? Internal structural change. What features of the property may require this, such as exterior changes? Check your state's rules on the value of work before a permit is required. Check if you have an overlay which could make your building permit require council approval. Increasing the floor space or adding more rooms. External patio spaces. Architect's drawings and paperwork would be required for council approval. What requires the approval of the owner's corporation when they apply? Check with the corporate manager for the owner's regulations and restrictions. Is it okay to install an air conditioner on the veranda balcony? Is it possible to put a skip in the yard or the parking lot? Alterations to the structure, changes to the exterior. Source your trade. Obtain several quotations, particularly for bigger jobs. Create a written scope of work so that everyone can quote from the same source. When the trades arrive, have written standards on hand. Acquisition of materials. Close consultation with tradespeople. You may discover that allowing them to supply their materials is less expensive and keeps cost at its bare minimum. To get discounts, open a trade account with your favored supplier. Ensure that deliveries are made on time. Materials should be available for your trades so they wouldn't get in the way, but they shouldn't arrive too early and get in the way, or worse, get stolen. Determine the order in which the trades and service providers are listed. The workflow can vary based on the type of your renovation project, and certain trades will intersect, but it could look like this. Structural engineer and architect. Quantity surveyor. Builder. Labor to work on general fixes like door handles, bathroom fixes, new fittings, etc. Electrician and plumber to disconnect services. Building surveyor for structural work certification. Cabinet maker for new cabinet installation. Painter for final touches with fresh paint. Tiler. Landscaper. Carpet layer. Regular site visitation. Your job will include the following: Verify that all of the necessary trades are present and completed works correctly. The task is completed in a professional and timely manner. Troubleshoot. 8. By renovate and lease it sell. You've spent months researching, preparing, and working hard to find a house and renovate it to market value. It's time to put that effort into action by preparing to sell or lease your investment property and locating the ideal buyer or tenant. This is also the moment to compare your renovation to your original budget and objectives. Learn as much as you can and look for the best ways to benefit from your property development. However, before you proceed with selling and leasing, here is a revised procedure to follow. Examine the property again. Conduct a final inspection of the property after the repairs have been completed to check that the residence complies with local, state, and federal codes. Inspectors should be members of a professional association and will write a report. Assess value. The property's worth will have changed due to your undertaken repairs. To ascertain the property's new valuation, schedule an assessment with a valuer and real estate agent to seek an appraisal. List the property. List your home with a qualified real estate agent who has a strong brand in your local area. Franchisees can also locate rental investors interested in buying newly renovated properties. Market the property. Market or advertise your property on the internet, in local classified ads, and on social media. Hold open houses to generate interest. Contact your network to sell the property by word of mouth. Bargain and compare offers in the field. Before you sell too cheap, ensure that you understand your finances and how many dollars you spent on your reno. Use your agent to find prospective buyers and follow up with offers. Compare all the offers to find which deal will maximize profits. Use your agent and conveyancer if you are selling to finalize the deal you are happy with. Best way to fund your renovation. Renovation loans have gotten a little more difficult to come by recently. If the renovation is significant, several creditors will require a fixed price contract from a licensed constructor. They will only finance based on as completed valuation, so you must have all of your costs understood ahead of time. You might take an investment loan for the entire cost of the refurbishment if you already have equity in your house or any investment property. If you're buying a home to renovate, you'll most likely use the equity in your current home to pay the purchase. However, if you already possess the property you want to refurbish, you may borrow the money you need for the refurbishments from the equity you already have in the house, maybe through a line of credit. You'll need a lot of equity in the property or any property because lenders won't let you borrow more than 80% of the value. Thanks for listening to the My Development podcast, brought to you by Shane Galea, your property expert guide for your property needs.